Good evening, everyone watching us online. I am Adam Hinato, your host for today, and welcome to Miss Earth Australia's official Facebook page. Tonight is a very historic and special episode as we are about to witness how the Miss Earth Australia organization will select its winner for the next Miss Earth pageant. So all three elemental queens from last year's court will be undergoing a live interview with our judges, with our panel of judges. They'll be scored. They'll be asked a lot of questions about their personality and environmental awareness. These members of the judging panel will carefully get to know and assess all these girls throughout the entire interview. So let's get to know our judges tonight. First and foremost, on top of the list, he is one of the Philippines' top pageant bloggers here in the Philippines through his hit self-titled website normannorman.com. Please say hello to Norman Tino. Hello, sir Norman.
I think I have just muted myself there. Good evening to everyone. Hello to our viewers. And I'm so excited to actually be part of selection for the next Miss Earth Australia. And I'm pretty sure we'll have a good time tonight because we have three wonderful ladies to choose from. Thank you for the introduction, Adam.
Thank you, Sir Norman. Glad to have you on board. Next,
Thank you.
thank you. Next is a successful events host and a pageant correspondent for Miss Earth Moments Facebook page. Please say hello to Luis Adrian. Yeah. Hello, Sir Luis.
Hi. Hi, Adam. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me tonight. I'm really afraid a while ago that my connection is not okay, but now I believe it's really stable. So you can hear me loudly and clear. So I would like to say hello to my team, Miss Earth Moments team. I would also like to thank Miss Julieta De Leon for inviting me, my family way back in Toledo, Cebu. Hello, good evening, and to all my friends. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Glad to have you on board as well, Sir Luis. I hope you have a good time talking to these girls later. I'm for sure we'll be surprised with we'll be surprised at how intelligent and smart these girls are as we select the next Miss Earth Australia very soon. And last but not the least is a writer, martial artist, and environmental advocate who recently got appointed or who recently represented her state, Nebraska, at the recently concluded Miss Earth USA Virtual Pageant. Say hello as well to Miss Angel Strong. Good morning over there, Miss Angel. Oh, you look
You have to
so.
unmute yourself.
Mute.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Thank you, Norman. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing?
We're doing good. What time is it right now there in
It
Nebraska?
is 5:18 in the morning.
Oh gosh, 5:18. So have you had your breakfast already, or you just made up? You just did your makeup right now, straight out of bed.
See, whenever I have to get up early in the morning, it is very useful for me to sleep it with my hair in braids, so it just does this cool little thing, and I don't have to worry about it. So I just had to get my makeup and eat this morning. There's no coffee right here, so I'm all good to go.
Glad to have you on board as well. Thank you for making the time and effort in doing this for the Miss Earth Australia organization. We really feel honored and privileged to have you on. So
Of
there
course,
you
I
go,
was
guys.
super excited. I'm super excited about it.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm not,
thank you, thank you. But before we begin with the main event, let's acknowledge the presence of the entire Miss Earth Australia organization who are all tuned in tonight. Let's say hello to Miss Julieta Custodio de Leon. Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am Julieta. She is uh, Ma'am Julieta is the president and owner of Stargazer Productions Limited, the current license holder for Earth, Mrs. Earth, Little and Teen Earth, and Mr. Earth pageants in Australia. She has been involved in pageant, modeling, and beauty industry for over 20 years. She is a celebrated hair and makeup artist in various beauty pageants and has been a recipient of multiple awards and recognition from global organizations. Staunch environmental advocate, proponent of activities such as tree planting and cleanup drive events in Australia via this platform, Miss Earth Australia Pageant. Hi, Miss Julieta. I hope you're so excited. You're all pumped up right now as we are about to do this in a little while. Next is Maria James. Hi, Miss Maria James. Maria James is the founder of Miss Earth Australia, a powerhouse national pageant that is to reckon with in the Miss Earth International Pageant. For over 20 years, she has been involved in pageantry and modeling locally and globally. She honed and trained hundreds of models and beauty queens who are now all successful in their own ways. A staunch believer of beauty with a cause, she deeply advocates in raising multiple environmental awareness where she encourages everyone to play their part in cleaning up our Mother Earth rather than leaving this responsibility for someone else. Glad to I'm so glad that you could make it, Miss Maria James. I hope we could all see you right now, but thank you for all tuning in. And last but not the least is Hector, Sir Hector Calara. Hi, Sir Hector. He's the board director and media manager of Miss Earth Australia Organization. Hi, Sir Hector. I'm so happy to finally, get the chance to meet you eventually. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you also have a wonderful time listening to how this will all pan out in a little while. And last but not the least is before let's have a brief chat first with with one of the founding members of Miss Earth Australia organization, just so we could make things a little bit exciting. So let's talk to uh, Mark Bailon, also part of the Miss Earth Australia organization. Hello, Sir Mark. How are you?
gotta
Sir
unmute
Mark.
your mic.
Hi,
Oh,
Sir
sorry.
Mark.
Okay, I've got it. So,
Hi.
hi everyone. Thanks,
Yeah.
Adam. Thanks, Adam, for moderating today, and I'm very uh, honored for the present in the presence of our panelists tonight. So this is the very first for Miss Earth Australia, and thank you, Tito Norman. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Angel, for being part of this tonight show. So we're making a big move towards this virtual pageantry, and we are very lucky to have you here with us this evening.
Thank you, Sir Mark. This
Mhm.
is such an historic and special moment for all of us, and thank you for getting us all involved in this endeavor. We're truly excited because you're making us really, you're really making us all involved in the selection of the next Miss Earth Australia. Australia delegate to the forthcoming Miss Earth pageant. Now, I want to ask,
Mhm.
what made you guys decide to do this kind of selection process for this year, Sir Mark?
Yes, so yeah, just before, because honestly, this year supposedly is the 20th year of Miss Earth. And Miss Earth Australia, we've been sending delegates to Miss Earth International, and we've been doing this for the past 20 years. And actually, we have a very big we've planned for a very big pageant this year. So we started planning late last year. However, because of this crisis, suddenly we put on hold all of our plans, and then we're kind of like on a wait and see what would happen for, and we're waiting for the guidelines from the Miss Earth international. And however, we already have like plan A and plan B. So when we've learned that the Miss Earth is gearing towards virtual pageantry, we started planning, and then that's the reason why we started doing like a plan for what would happen if we're gonna gear towards the virtual contest. Because since we cannot do a normal pageant as we usually do it, then we realized that the easiest way for us, because we know that we have a lot of very capable women to be a staunch advocate for Miss Earth Australia. And I said to the board, like, why do we need to look further? Right here in front of us is there are the four queens that we crowned last year, who already did their job very well this year. And I am very proud to say that if we will be appointing someone, it I would rather select from our current elemental queen rather than find someone else. And because in Miss Earth Australia, what we do is that we crown the Miss Earth as the queen, and then the elemental court are of equal bearing. So there's no first, second, third, or fourth runner up for us. So anyone, in case if the Miss Earth cannot do her job, we can pick someone. And then when we gave this idea to our elemental queens, because when we learned that virtual pageantry will be a big go, we've talked to our elemental queens and gave them a challenge. Who do you think would like to take the crown? Well, I would like to have the crown from Susanna from our last year Miss Earth Australia, who did really, really well in her reign. And all of our elemental queens are very much excited. So we had like a good week of discussing, conferencing, and I went back to the board and they come up like, well, this is very hard for us because the four elemental queens wants to become the Miss Earth Australia 2020. So how do we do it? And that's the reason we reach out to our network, also online, on social media or corporate, and we realized that the best thing is to to ask everyone to help us to select our next Miss Earth Australia, because whatever kind of decision that we'll be making today, it does not impact only us, but also how we project ourselves towards our international crowd. So that's the reason, yeah. Thank you very much, especially for Sash Factor, Adam and Briggs, for leading this project when we ask you to help us. And we really thank you for all the help that you have given to Miss Earth Australia. And thank you, Angel, Louis, and Tito Norman, because when Briggs and Adam told us that you'll be part of it, we are very honored. We said that, yeah, this is a very big for us.
You're welcome, sir. I just thought it's a very clever strategy from your part of view to do this kind of selection process because it makes the whole there will be so much interest in the next Miss Earth Australia. I think nobody
It is.
from other countries has ever done this kind of setup. So I think this will be the first time that you are allowing somehow the public to kind of decide who will be the next Miss Earth Australia. But
Yes, because
yeah, sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, no, yeah, because we all know that being a responsible and being like our love for our environment does not stop with Miss Earth Australia. It belongs to all of us. And why not share it to the public? If we will have to select someone who will become the next environmental advocate, environmental queen for Australia, let's open it to everyone. Let's hear their voice and be part of the selection process.
Exactly, sir. Well said. But sir, before anything else, I want to ask you, for those who don't know yet the entire Miss Earth Australia organization that well, how long has Miss Earth Australia been existing? consisting, and who were its founding members?
Okay, so Miss Earth Australia has been is we've been doing this for the past 20 years. So we are like one of the original members when the first Miss Earth International was done 20 years ago. And one of these founding members, Maria James, we are lucky to be with us now. So Maria James is Miss Earth Australia is a brainchild of Maria James, who has like a good relationship with the Miss Earth International back in Manila. So when they brought in the idea, if she wants to lead the Miss Earth selection here in Australia, so Maria James took the challenge and she did really, really well. So for the past 20 years, she is leading the charge in the selecting the next in the selection of our queen year in and year out. And her love for the environment, the advocacy that uh, that she gives to raise the awareness towards our environment, especially here in Australia, is like it's very, very big. So everyone who knows Maria James, everyone knows that she puts environment on top of everything else. So and right even right now in the Miss Earth Australia organization, everything that we do, everything that every projects that we initiate and every any partnerships that we made with our corporate partners, we always put the awareness and the importance of environment amongst everything else. So that's how we are different from other pageants, alpha pageants here in Australia. So we put always environment first.
That's very nice
Yes.
to hear.
So it's a
Yeah.
bit hard because we are not unlike the other pageantry where we only showcase being gorgeous, being beautiful, but we are very strict in terms of advocacy. If you look at our reigning, all of our queens, all of the candidates, always the first question that we ask is that, what have you done for the environment? If someone who anyone who cannot answer that question, we always say that okay, so probably Miss Earth Australia is not for you, my dear.
Yes. All right. So speaking of that, sir, how crucial is it that you get the right delegate for this year's forthcoming Miss Earth pageant? What qualities do you think are you looking for in the next Miss Earth Australia?
Okay, so the quality that we're looking for is actually is a as a good communicator, someone who can actually who's confident, who can explain herself really, really well, who can communicate with utmost articulate communication skills, and at the same time, not only that person can speak well, but also that queen speaks well uh, with beauty. Do you think like you can still see her like a beauty queen who has who knows how to carry herself with proper styling, with proper decorum, and at the same time, like actually when that person speaks, everyone would listen. So that is what we're actually looking for our next Miss Earth Australia.
That's something that we really have to keep in mind as we go through
Yeah,
this
yes,
show.
yes. That's what we're asking for help because the current ladies that we have the current elemental queens that we have right now, they all look so gorgeous and they really, really speak well about the advocacies of Miss Earth Australia, and that's the reason why we raised the red flag and said we need help to decide on who will be our next Miss Earth Australia.
It's one of those three girls in a little while.
Yes,
So
yes.
last question, sir, before I let you go. Sir, what are the plans, or what does Miss Earth Australia organization in store for all of us pageant fans and enthusiasts in the next coming months or even years? Do you have
Yes.
something
So
big, something big in store for us in the near future?
yes, we have actually because of the we are all because of the constraint of time that we had for the international uh, pageant, for the Miss Earth International competition. So the priority right now, as soon as we crowned our queen, our new queen, then we need to start preparing her for the virtual pageant that would happen in as early as late September, and that would run as per the schedule for the next few months before they crowned the new Miss Earth International, the Miss Earth 2020. However, after that competition, we have a lot of activities in store for our new queen. So we built a lot of partnership right now, and with the current situation that we have, right, we 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 are in not only from Australia because of this pandemic. So most of our uh, outdoor activities are very limited. However, all of them are just postponed. And we assure all of our partners that as soon as it's safe to do all of these outreach activities, these charity events, we will be out there and leading the charge of promoting the advocacies of Miss Earth Australia. So that is a that we have a very busy calendar for for the uh, next year. And we encourage everyone actually to follow our Facebook page, the Mr. Australia page and Instagram page, so that they would be updated with what's happening for Miss Earth Australia. And we also encourage everyone like pageant enthusiasts, bloggers to reach out if you want to talk to us and partner with us, because yeah, we just want to reach out to anywhere in the world, so that we could be together in promoting the advocacies not only for Mr. Australia but for the whole our love for the whole environment.
And on that note, sir, let's begin with the show.
Yes, but
We look forward to covering and posting all the
we
updates
will.
and
So
we come
yeah, but Adam, before that, I'll just take this opportunity first to thank you our patrons and supporters for Mr. Australia. You already mentioned uh Tito Hector Calara. He is one of our media director, and we are very thankful for his help. And also, I just want to mention our board of directors, also who's in charge of marketing for Miss Earth Australia. We've got Len Puzon, Ella Ponce, and Mari Tanswin. So they are the power ladies who help us uh, connect with everyone with the corporate partnership. So thank you very much. And also, I would like to take this opportunity to invite everyone, all of our viewers across the world, to if they haven't even voted yet for their next their favorite for Miss Earth Australia. So just like visit our page, Instagram, Facebook, like it, and then select your favorite Echo Angel, because your vote and your comments, your voices would certainly count. And that's already started last Monday. And we're now on the second part of this selection process, which is your vote, your voices would count now. So yeah, so thank you, Adam. Thank you to Bricks. Thanks, Tito Norman. Thanks, Louis. Thanks, Angel. So I guess all of our leaders are very excited to meet all of you. So good night.
thank you, Sir Mark. It has been a pleasure interviewing you, getting to know you, Miss
Thank
Platform.
you.
We
The
look,
honor is certainly mine.
yeah,
Talk to you all soon. Bye bye.
all right, sir. Hope you have fun watching
I
and hope
will.
you
I
laugh.
will.
Thank you, Sir Mark. And let's now get to the main show. We're so excited and pumped up to interview our three lovely Echo Angels all the way from the land down under. So let's get the ball rolling. Shall we start? Are you guys excited, Sir Norman, Miss Angel, and Sir Luis? Are you all excited to interview these three delegates in a little bit, in any moment now? So here we go.
Very.
Yes.
Let's start with Miss Charity Australia 2019, Miss Brittany Dixon. Hello,
Hi
Brittany.
everyone.
Very excited.
Hi,
Excited
Brittany.
to see you all. Very honored to be here.
Very much.
Okay. Hi, Brittany. How have you been?
I've been really good. I've been very busy during lockdown. I work for the National Parks and Wildlife Service here in Australia, so I'm working to protect our native plants and animals every day, even during the pandemic. So, yeah, very busy, but enjoying this little Miss Earth journey again. Yeah.
All right. So, Sir Norman, Angel, Sir Luis, you may now start asking, firing away your questions. Who wants to go first?
Okay. Yes, I am not so sure if you
Go
guys
ahead.
can hear me clearly. Can you guys hear me clearly? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
we hear
hi
you clearly.
Brittany. Yes,
Hi, Louise.
Brittany, I would like to ask, you've been joining 3 times already, right? Um, for you, what do you think,
Louis, go ahead.
yes, what do you think urges you to push year by year to the Miss Earth Australia pageant?
For me, it's just something that I am
We
so
can.
passionate about, and it's so dear to my heart. Even in 2017, I was diagnosed with brain cancer prior to the pageant, and I asked the doctor, I said, no, I really want to do this. And it's not just for the crown. I don't want fame or followers or anything like that. I'm just so passionate, and I want to be able to use my voice to speak for Mother Earth, who can't always speak for herself. And if I can do that and elevate that voice to a wider platform and make a real difference across the world, that's the best thing that I can hope to do with my life. And yeah, that's wonderful. Like that. I'm just so passionate to speak to Mother Earth, and if I can do that and elevate that voice to a wider
Uh, okay, let me. I want to go next. As you were saying, Brittany, I read in the bio that you're a cancer
Yes.
survivor. So, what is about Miss Earth Australia pageant that that makes you keep joining, coming back for it, even though despite your situation? And can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so for me, Miss Earth lines up exactly with my passions and what I want to do with my career. And I just think it's so much different to any other pageant out there just because the advocacy component is so strong. And past winners have gone on to do such amazing things, such as speaking at the United Nations. Over in Mauritius at the moment, the current representative is helping with the cleanup from the recent oil spill, which is, I was like, kudos, good girl. So happy to see people out there doing the amazing things that they should be.
All right. Sir Luis, do you have any more? Do you have more questions for Brittany?
Such as
No,
speaking.
I'm really so amazed and I'm really proud of you because of your passion towards the environment. And you're clearly an example of a woman who's not just giving up easily. Because you remind me of someone like if you really have a dream, you have to push for it to to always as they said you're not competing with someone else, rather you're competing with yourself. And I think that you have been a great example to all the people out there, not just for all the women, but to all the people out there, that if you really have a dream, you have to dream big and follow it. So I'm really proud of you, Brittany. So thank you, Adam.
Exactly. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
And each year has been such a great opportunity to further myself and I'm continuously trying to find ways to be more environmentally and eco-friendly. And even in my free time, I constantly find myself wanting to go do environmental activities. I'm actually a little bit disappointed because the bush regeneration group that I'm a part of is doing an activity this Saturday, but I'm going to be going to Miss Earth. So hopefully the Miss Earth opportunity can bring bigger and better things, and I can bring more back to that bush regen group.
Sir Luis?
All good. Thank you.
Doing an activity
All
this
right.
Saturday.
So before we continue, Miss Brittany, can you share your opening statement? Like, why do you have to be the next Miss? Why do you have to be the next Miss Earth Australia?
I should be the next Miss Earth Australia just because I am so passionate, and I do want to dedicate the rest of my life to making the world a greener place. My ultimate goal is to educate and to inspire and to bring a lot more excitement and joy into making the world what it should be, and a great place for the future, not only us, but the next generations. And we want to be able to enjoy that wildlife and beautiful things that we see every single day. So yeah, I think I've got the ability to do that. I'm a smart cookie as well as a little bit glam, and I'd love to bring that out in the world.
Thank you, Brittany. Uh, we'll come back to you in a little while. So hang in there for a little while. So
I'll see you soon.
let's go to the next girl, which is Miss Sheridan Mortuck, Miss Earth Australia 2019. Sir Norman Tino will be the one asking her questions.
Yes, indeed. I will be asking the questions for Sheridan. And these are not very easy questions, Adam, because I think Sheridan is game enough to answer my difficult questions.
Hi,
Sheridan,
everyone.
where are you, Sheridan? I cannot
Can
see
you see
you,
me?
Sheridan.
Hi. Can you see me?
Sheridan. Oh, my Sheridan, where are you?
Hi. Can you see me?
Sheridan, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Sheridan, can you introduce yourself for the benefit of our
Sheridan, can you
followers
hear?
who are not familiar?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, definitely.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent.
So do a short intro of yourself
Sheridan,
first.
can you
Yeah, no worries. So I'm Sheridan Mortlock. I'm Miss Earth Air Australia 2019. I'm 20 years old and I'm currently studying at the University of Wollongong. I'm majoring in global sustainable development. I entered Miss Earth Australia last year as my first ever beauty pageant and absolutely fell in love with the organisation. And I've been lucky enough to be involved with them for this past year. During my time as the Elemental Queen, I've got to do such like amazing things like be part of fundraisers and educate children about climate change and bushfires. And we even just recently supported the international students during COVID by providing a food drive, which was so much fun. I got to meet so many people. Yeah, and it's just been an excellent year. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and hopefully I can continue working with the Miss Earth organization in the future.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction, Sheridan. I actually prepared 2 to 3 questions for you, but I will ask you a very light question first.
Excellent.
Okay? Are you ready, Sheridan?
I'm ready, Norman.
Okay. Sheridan, what is that one thing that we cannot tell about you just by looking at you right now? Tell us something that we cannot say about you just by looking at you right now.
They so tell you something about me just by looking at me
But that we cannot
that you
immediately
cannot.
conclude that, okay, yes.
Okay. Well, something interesting about me that you wouldn't be able to tell just by looking at me is I grew up in a small country town. So I'm not from Sydney or Melbourne, but I'm from a small town called Thusrday, which is where I grew up. And that's sort of where my love of nature and all things earth stemmed from, because I lived on a farm, didn't own it, but I lived on it. And so every day I got to wake up and see the beautiful sunrise and sunset over the fields of wheat, also the sheep walk past. And so that really influenced me and how I was raised to be able to appreciate not only nature but community, because our town was so small. And so whenever there was a struggle or something to celebrate, we would all get together and band together as a town, which I really loved.
Thank you for that answer, Sheridan. Now we go to your Earth related questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
I told you earlier that this is kind of long, so please bear with me. You have to listen carefully. Okay. This question, I am giving this to you because I know that you love shopping at the Salvation Army at Salvos. Am
Oh,
I
yeah.
right?
You are very correct.
Okay. All right. So here's the question. Buying more recycled and organic products can help lower deforestation. What message can you send to female shoppers who ignore this in favor of lower prices or buying their preferred brands regardless of how it was made? Let me repeat the question, Sheridan. Buying more recycled and organic products can help ease deforestation. What message can you send to female shoppers who ignore this in favor of lower prices or buying their preferred brands regardless of how it was made? Okay.
I would say to all of the people, female or male, that are still deciding to choose fast fashion options, I would just really, really ask you to give it a try. There are some really excellent secondhand stores these days. There's one called Save the Children, which has only really high quality secondhand items. I feel like a lot of the time people are not so attracted to secondhand clothing stores because they think that the clothing will be ruined or stained or there'll be something wrong with it. But I have gotten so many beautiful pieces from secondhand that you wouldn't be able to get from any stores. And if secondhand still isn't really what you're wanting, if you've got events on or if you're really into, going out and you buy a dress every single time, I would highly, highly recommend Rent a Dress. So there's heaps of different websites these days. I personally love Glam Corner, Eco Love, and One Night Stand Boutique. You can rent an outfit for the night or for 2 nights and then return it. You don't have to worry about cleaning it at all. And that means not only do you save the environment and your wallet, but you also save room in your closet, because most of the time we only wear things once if it's a special occasion, then don't really wear them again. So why not rent it, save the environment, and save some money at the same time?
Thank you so much for that answer, Sheridan. Now, that my questions actually are increasing in difficulty. So we're now in the third question. This is the most difficult, but this is actually the most very, very Miss Earth question. Okay, here it goes, Sheridan. One beauty queen cannot change the environmental attitude of a nation immediately, just as one environment loving country cannot save the world. In your case, what are your baby steps in creating change and understanding how to live with and benefit from nature? Okay, let me repeat the question. One beauty queen cannot change the entire nation's attitude towards the environment, just as one environment loving country cannot change the world. What are your baby steps in creating change and understanding on how to live and benefit from nature?
Thank you very much for the question, Norman. So you're correct. One person and one country won't be able to influence every single person. But I believe what's important is that people become educated on the topics and they become more aware of the nature and the ecosystems that surround them, because it is our mother nature and it is our earth and our planet that keeps us alive. And if we don't take care of it, it won't be able to take care of us. So I think that the baby steps that we can take in order to create a more sustainable change in the future is to just spread awareness of things, become educated, and provide solutions for those things as well. So it's all good and well to say, the ocean is becoming polluted. But if you give someone something they can do as well, then hopefully they'll be motivated to go and do that. So little eco swaps, such as switching from a plastic toothbrush to a bamboo toothbrush, or things like fast fashion where we can buy secondhand clothing, or even just simply going to your local farmers market and using produce bags or getting fresh fruit and supporting local stores really does make a big impact when all of us do it together. It's a group effort and we all need to come together to protect our earth, because it is beautiful, and I feel like sometimes people forget just how wonderful nature can be. So it would be fantastic if we all make a movement together, and then hopefully one day in the future there will be more positive change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sheridan. So I think I've given Sheridan my 2 to 3 questions,
Thank
and
you.
I think she was able to handle herself well. Although I couldn't still remember that small hometown that you came from. I can
Jerilderie.
remember Trildery with 800
Jerilderie.
people. Trildery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I can remember that. Trildery. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Happy.
if I go there, then you will bring me to Trildery.
Of course. I'll show you everything. It's so beautiful.
That would be very nice, Sheridan. So I think it's now time that we move to our third lady for the night, Karine. Oh, but we'll be back. Adam, I think we're ready for the third girl.
Thank you, Sir Norman. Yes, wow.
You're
Look at
welcome.
Sheridan. Aren't you impressed with Sheridan?
Very much impressed. I told her that if she ends up winning and she goes to Manila, then there is a place here we can bring her to in Palawan, a Sheridan Resort in Palawan.
You're so clever, Sir Norman. You're so clever. Bye for now, Sir Norman. Let's see if the next girl will be as impressive as Sheridan. So thank you, Sheridan. We'll get back to you
Thank
in a
you.
bit.
No worries.
And finally, for our last but not the least, is Miss Water Australia 2019. Say hello to Miss Corinne C. Hi, Corinne, and she'll be
Hello, Adam.
interviewed
It's good
by
to see
Miss
you.
Earth Nebraska 2020, Angel Strong. Hit it away, Miss Angel. Hi, Corinne. Let's wait for Miss Angel. How are you? You're looking
Hi.
so lovely.
Hello, Angel. It's
I
good
like
to
the
see you.
one. I like that you put your hair one side. Oh, there you go, Miss Angel. Here you go. Take it, fire it away.
So before we begin, do you want to give your introduction real quick?
Yes, no worries. So, hi everyone. Thanks so much for having me on here tonight. My name is Karen Z, and I was Miss Water Australia 2019. I recently graduated university last year. I graduated with a degree in civil engineering, and much like Sheridan, last year was actually my first pageant. So I was very grateful for the opportunity that Miss Earth Australia provided me. And so having been a part of Miss Earth Australia has opened me up to meeting so many other women who have the same passions as I do. I love to follow them on social media and see what they're up to and all the different environmental ideas that they have to promote sustainability with their family, friends, and community. So it's lovely to be here tonight.
Lovely. So I'm just going to jump right into the deep end. So starting off a little bit simpler, Can you expand on hashtag biodiversity?
Oh, no worries. So hashtag biodiversity. So biodiversity refers to the range of life that we have on planet Earth, but not necessarily just on the Earth. We also have creatures and living organisms in our waters, and of course the birds that fly. And I think the wonderful thing about biodiversity is that our whole world has so many different parts that move and work together, and humanity is just also part of that. And so I think humanity, as probably one of the largest moving groups in our wonderful world, we need to do more to promote biodiversity for the plants, the trees, the creatures, and the organisms that aren't as large as us.
Wonderful. So Australia is currently ranked as one of the lowest of 57 countries on climate change policy. What would be your suggestions to fix this problem?
No worries. So obviously that is such a shame to hear. It's actually very disappointing to hear that fact. And I think my first and foremost suggestion would be education. This includes educating our government officials, the people who are responsible for the policies of our country and how we work. It would also include educating the general population and also implementing knowledge about climate change into schools. And I think with this three-prong approach, we can really target what we know and understand about climate change. And once we have that knowledge, then people will be encouraged to be more responsible and accountable for their daily actions and lives. And with that, we can become a better nation at our climate change policy and hopefully, really change that.
Okay, last question. So as Miss Australia Earth, of course, all of us know that all of you elemental queens are doing amazing work. However, do you think it is important to document the work you are doing, or is it more important to have the experience?
Oh, that's a really good question. Thanks, Angel. I think it's definitely, can I say both? The reason that I think documenting it is important is because with that way, you can show other people what you've been doing, why you've been doing it, and what it's done and helped. The same way, having the experience, without experiences, we don't really learn. And so we need to do things to understand how things work and why they are helpful. And so I think to have both experience and documenting what you have done, that's very important.
Awesome, thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Angel.
Thank you, Miss Green. Thank you, Miss Angel. Okay, I hope you all learned something from Miss Green in terms of how she could really articulate her thoughts. Aren't you impressed, Miss Angel?
Very. You speak very well.
Don't you wish that you're also competing as well?
I just got done with. I'm done.
I want to ask you before we go to the next portion. Which is more nerve-wracking, answering questions or now you sitting as a judge?
Somehow I think judging work. I love answering questions. It's what I do all day, every day. But somehow this is a lot more nerve-wracking. I'm afraid like I'm gonna ask something like way out of left field, and people are gonna be like, "How dare you? How dare you do that to our queen?" And I'm like, "Sorry."
All right. Thanks, Miss Angel. Okay, we'll get back to you in a bit. Let's go now to Sir Luis as he is going to ask more questions to Miss Charity Australia 2019, Miss Brittany Dixon.
Back again. Hiya.
Hello, Sir Luis. Take it away.
Okay, hi Brittany. Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you clearly.
Yes, okay. That's good. Well, I just want to ask what for you is the essence of being an earth warrior?
Sure. So the essence of being an earth warrior, I believe, is truly living out what you're saying and putting out into the world. It means one thing to get on the bandwagon and say, yeah, we should all be doing green things and supporting these environmental causes, but it's a completely different thing to live it and to actually take on board those experiences and get out there and get in the field and actually get your hands dirty and work to make the world a better place. And being an earth warrior isn't about glitz and glamour. You have to be prepared to get dirty when you need to. I've been at events where people are scared to walk through a spider web when they want to go plant a tree. That's not from this earth, and that's not an earth warrior. So, yeah.
Wonderful. I love your answer. Another question. What makes you a beauty for a cause worthy?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? I didn't hear that one.
Yeah, I'm saying, what makes you a beauty for a cause worthy?
Okay, so what makes you for a beauty for a cause worthy is your your chance to actually go out and make a difference. And since there is a cause, there is something to fight for. This is our earth and we live in it, and it's our duty to protect it. And that's what makes you worthy, because you've got something that you do need to fight for. And it's a beautiful planet, and that's what we all need to do.
Yes, I love that too. You always inspire people the way you talk. Now I have one last question for you. Um, what? Okay, here for a while. Let me check my notes first.
That's okay.
Okay. Oh, here is it. Here it is. What do you think is the biggest lesson that we can learn from Mother Earth, or we can learn from nature as human being?
I think the biggest lesson that we can learn from Mother Earth and nature as human beings is that everything has its place and everything works together, and we're all just like a little speck in the universe. But when you lose those little specks, as is the big issue today, biodiversity loss, things stop working and things start going into chaos. And yeah, so we need to respect each and every little bit of nature to make sure that that machine keeps functioning, and that we don't go too far over the edge with climate change, and that we can bring things back and celebrate the earth that we live in, because it's such a beautiful thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, I do really hope that this interview with you would definitely give you a good ticket for a better future in this coming selection later. So
I hope
thank you,
so.
Brittany.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Sir Luis, and
Thank you, Adam. I can hear you now.
Technical difficulties.
so now we now go to the next part of the interview, which is the open forum. Guys, if you have, to all the viewers who are watching us or tuning in right now, guys, if you have questions for our lovely ladies out here, whether it's an environmental Q&A question or something that is more of a personality type based questions, feel free to comment down those questions, and I will try my best to read those questions to our ladies. All right, so and can we bring back all the other guests in this interview for the open forum? Yay, there we go.
So,
So
and
while
this is open forum,
while we
correct?
wait for the
We're
viewers
finally
to read their
complete.
question on the comment, I want to ask anyone this. I want to ask these questions to the ladies. Anyone could answer. So as we all know, we are very weirdly affected by everything that's going on because of this whole pandemic. As you can see, there is so much hospital waste being amassed or being used in all the hospitals worldwide you can imagine. As as a potential Miss Earth International candidate, how do you think the government or even the hospital management could really, solve this problem? Because of course, of course, you're wearing, giving a context for this, like there's so many people wearing facial masks and they have to throw it every day. They have to throw it away and use another one the next day and so on and so forth. And they just throw it in the trash bin. So how do you think we can help even just highly optical waste?
Happy to field the question. So if we're talking about reducing single-use plastics and waste due to the pandemic, I think we do need our governments to encourage the use of reusable masks. I have one with me right here now. It's very fashionable too. Wore it out today. So yeah, I think that's a great idea. In addition to wearing reusable masks and things like that, it's also important that if for any reason we do end up with any kind of surplus, that we do the right thing and donate those things to other countries or other people that may be more misfortunate and don't have access. That's because I've heard that countries have ordered over 2 billion masks and now they have too many masks. So that would be a really great use of them. And yeah, it's horrible to hear because there's been statements that we're going to see more masks in the sea than jellyfish. And I couldn't imagine a world like that. So I think we really do have to be mindful. And if we are going to go out, to be mindful with the use of masks, use something reusable. And I think I've also seen some recyclable masks. So that could be another option for the single-use kind of versions.
So I also have a question if whoever wants to pick it up. Back in 2016, when signing the Paris Climate Accord, Australia vowed to reduce total emissions by 26 to 28% by 2030. Do you think your country is on track to do that?
I'm happy to field it again if no one else is going to.
Go right ahead.
Okay, so essentially, I don't really have that much faith in our current government. So during the pandemic, they've put together a COVID commission, and unfortunately, that commission is made up of fossil fuel lobbyists, and that's probably the worst people that we should be consulting at this time. I think part of our duty and responsibility to the environment would be to transition back into renewable energies going forward. That way we can come out of this pandemic with at least something positive. And yeah, our emissions targets are way off. So there's a lot of work we need to do. Renewables is the best way forward, I'd say.
Okay, I have a question since I've questioned Cheryl earlier, I'll ask Karine this time. Karine?
Yes,
Okay,
Norman, hello.
yeah, there is a study which says that the coronavirus pandemic has really been good for the environment. Actually, we have clearer waters, there's the pollution has cleared up. So it's really a very disorienting but positive change in the environment caused by the pandemic. So it's actually a double-edged sword. What's your take on this? You have the pandemic on one end, and then you have an improved environment on the other. How do you mesh the two together in your opinion?
Awesome. Oh, Norman, that's a really good question. I suppose that firstly, it is important to acknowledge that, of course, COVID-19 has been a pandemic and it's affected a lot of people in terms of physical health, also possibly mental health and also economical wealth, amongst other things. And so this reveals to us that there are inherent issues in society about how we do things and that we have a need to be social people. On the other hand, having seen all the excellent improvements in our carbon emissions and how our waters have been clearer, that's really awesome to see. And I think what we can take away from this is, whilst we're building back our society back to what it was, we need to understand that there are ways we can do things better. There are ways that people can choose to transport themselves to work, how people go about managing their waste at home, and also, yes, just using reusables and also recycling. So I think there are a lot of takeaways from what we can see from a very disheartening time. And I hope that our governments and the people in charge do look at this and think of some new ways about how society works.
Thank you very much, Karine. And of course, I have an extra question for Sheridan also. Please, because I just prepared so many questions.
Please.
Earlier, I asked you about shopping, right?
Yes.
Now we go to driving.
Okay.
Okay? They say that if you drive less, then you leave less carbon footprint. So, what will be your message to people who drive their own cars for practicality and convenience?
No worries. So, my message for people that drive their cars for practicality and convenience is that if it is possible, take public transport where you can. A lot of people are annoyed that there's so much traffic on the road, but if more people did take public transport, then it would free up the roads and it'd actually get to places much quicker. If that's not viable for you, for example, if you live in the country like I did where there was little to no public transportation, there are cleaner alternatives. Electric cars are coming in now and they're getting more popular. Recharge stations for those electric cars are popping up all over Australia as well as other countries. So I would please give it a go, even if you use public transport once a week and then maybe a couple months down the line twice a week, and then maybe you won't even have to use your car very much at all, and you'll be saving money on fuel as well, which is another plus, another positive. So just give it a go and see how it goes for your lifestyle.
I love it, Sheridan. Louis, do you have a question for any of the girls? Because if you don't ask a question, I have another question to give them.
Actually,
Angel, do you have another question? Because
with your sound working? Are you good, Louis?
Angel, you ask your question. If you have
Okay.
an extra
So
question for
this is
them.
from Louis. Deforestation is a major problem in Australia and Oceania. As a beauty queen who is advocating for the environment, what can be done about this problem?
Is this question for everyone? Sorry.
Yeah, whoever wants to volunteer to answer
Okay,
that question.
I think that something that can be done about deforestation is become more educated on the subject first. Sometimes we see things at base value and we jump straight to a conclusion, but sometimes that won't actually be the best alternative in the long run. So I think that it's best to understand the reason behind the forestation, if there are any alternatives, and then move forward from there to make an informed decision that will have better environmental ethical impacts in the long term.
I'm happy to add a little bit extra to that one as well.
Yes,
I
go,
think,
Brittany.
yeah, it's so important to exercise your right to protest and your right to use your voice. So I think contacting your local government if deforestation is occurring near you is so important. There's petitions out there. I see them every day, and it's something that we really should get behind. And in regards to deforestation, it's so horrible to see like koala habitat that's being destroyed just so we can build new housing developments, and then people complaining that they're having a snake near their house because they've just destroyed that habitat for so many native animals and wildlife. So I think it's so important that we do continue to raise our voice, and when you see something that's wrong, make sure you alert the right people.
I think
And
yeah, yeah. Any more ideas, ladies? Because there are so many questions here for the three of you. But I think this question is very appropriate for Karine because you're the engineering graduate, correct?
Oh, yes, that is correct.
The question is, what are the engineering solutions to recycle more than just plastic and paper? This is from Moe Salehi. What are the
Ooh.
engineering solutions to recycle more than just plastic and paper?
Awesome. So thanks, Moe, for your question. I suppose that now it's exciting because we see organizations and companies that are looking to recycle things that we usually don't see recycled in our council bins. Examples include textiles. So there are companies such as manrags.com and also H&M that will take old textiles, any rags you may have or old clothes, and use them and transform them into other items that are usable. We can also recycle soft plastics now through a company called Red Cycle. And what you can do is take your soft plastics, so things that cover your food or maybe something you've ordered online, take it to Coles or Woolies and throw it in the bin. And it's really awesome to see the soft plastics recycled into pellets, which then can be fired back into molds to make children's furniture and to make signs and signposts. And it's great because it's an alternate to then going into our minerals and using metals that perhaps aren't as renewable as materials that we already have on hand. And so I think, these are just two great examples of recyclable materials that we couldn't recycle in the past. And so those are engineering solutions that we can look at and hopefully build towards in future research.
Thank you, Karine. Angel?
And then I have a question that I'm going to try to jump in with the comments and help out there. So the WWF has listed some of the major problems, environmental problems facing Australia as I have notes here. So deforestation, agriculture and overgrazing, illegal and overfishing, and invasive speciation. Which of these would you most want to, in your legacy, be able to say you completely solved this problem, and why?
Just raise your hand, ladies, whoever wants to chime in. Sherilyn?
So with the agriculture, I believe that we do need to change our agricultural practices because they aren't ethical and sustainable for the future. We have a population that is growing and land that is becoming less available for growing food to feed us. So with the possible running out of fossil fuels as well just down the line, we need to think of ways to go back to using traditional resources in our agriculture and not so many pesticides, which are not only harmful for the environment but harmful for us when we ingest them, but more natural solutions and things that won't involve such fuel guzzling machines. So there are changes that are happening already, especially in the UK in terms of economical farming. And I reckon that if we can try and adopt those practices more throughout Australia where it's viable, because we do have a very unforgiving climate sometimes, I reckon that that would be a fantastic thing to try and bring if I was to try and list one of those things and have it as a problem to be solved.
Also got an addition.
Yeah, Brittany has her answer as well. Yes, Brittany.
Sure. I'd love to see the pest and invasive species being addressed more, because as an animal bioscientist, I get to see the impacts every day, looking at different camera traps that are monitoring wildlife activity in the area. It's so distressing because you see these cat attacks all the time, and they're responsible for killing billions and billions of native animals across the globe and Australia every day. And people don't understand. Like, if I had a pet cat, I would certainly keep it inside or keep an enclosure in my backyard so I can protect the native animals around me. And yeah, other things like cane toads, we have a really big problem with them in Australia. People also put a lot of pest birds down as things that do need control as well. So having that addressed would really help with our biodiversity decline and protect our native species.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And
Yes. Yes, Angel.
Question. So, from the people I'm representing, Miss Earth Beauties, what is the most important lesson that this pandemic has taught you?
I think one of the most important lessons this pandemic has taught us is that it's really important to stop and just observe our surroundings and take a breather. We've already seen, as no one mentioned before, that some of the water is clearing up and that there are positive impacts that are happening because of COVID. And while there are also negative things, I believe one of the positive things that we can take away from this situation is that we don't have to move around the world so much. We don't have to use planes nearly as much as we were in the past. We can do a lot of things from the comfort of our own home, which is a really economical, positive solution. And I think that if we can continue some of these practices onwards, that it would have a really great change for the future.
Awesome. I'll add
Nice
something there as
answer.
well. I think just, yeah, from the fact that we've had lockdown and social distancing and people have been required to self-isolate, just the beauty of going outside. I know that a lot of people aren't happy about just being trapped indoors, and when they are able to go outside for some exercise, it's a wonderful thing just to feel the sun on your skin and also just to see the trees and hear that birds outside. And so I think a lot of people have been challenged about what they appreciate in life, and sometimes it's the simpler things like just the environment, Mother Nature, and what she provides for us as humanity.
Okay, Louis, do you have a question for the ladies? Because I will not run out of questions for these girls.
Yeah, I have one last question, and I believe you guys can hear me now.
Yes.
Okay. Ladies, I would just like to ask, what is or what are your government is doing something for the environment in your country? Like, what significant change have you seen or have you saw in your country for the past, shall we say, for the last 5 years?
I'll get started. I think just container deposit schemes have really started to gear up. We know that in South Australia, they started back in the 80s. They had their own container deposit scheme where you earn 5 or 10 cents nowadays just for returning cans, bottles, and glasses. And I think now most other states, definitely New South Wales and the ACT, have their own container deposit scheme. In New South Wales, it's return and earn. And I think this is just a wonderful thing to encourage people that might not necessarily have an inclination towards recycling to collect their bottles and to deliberately take them somewhere to be recycled rather than just throwing it into landfill, into the red bin at home. And it also, the fact that you can return and earn, that's an excellent incentive just to encourage people.
Wow, that's really amazing. How about you guys?
So another thing that I think is fantastic is there's a lot of changes that are sort of just starting to happen, but I think what's really great is that a lot more Australian people are speaking out and making their voices heard about environmental problems that they do have. We still have a long way to go here in Australia in terms of environmental impact, but the Australian people are speaking out and the government is starting to listen, which is fantastic. And I think that the more people that speak out, the more the people in Canberra have to, hear what we have to say, and then that means that more policies will be changed in the future.
Nice one. And you, Brit?
Brittany, would you
Sure.
like to add to that?
I think the South Australian government is doing some pretty great things. They have embraced renewable energy a lot better than the rest of the country has so far, and I think we need to follow in their footsteps. Otherwise, we do have some really great threatened species conservation programs that are being issued at state and federal levels, and it's really wonderful to see the results of those when they do eventually come in. So we have had some good success with increasing quoll populations over the past couple of years. They're a really cute little mammal that's carnivorous, and they're beautiful. But yes, we're trying to help them out, and yeah, I love seeing the positive results.
That's great.
There is there
Um,
is a light question here for the three girls from Brandon Lib. So I think because we're talking about very serious issues here, so let's go to something a little lighter just to make them smile even more. The question is this for the three girls: if you win Miss Earth Australia, you should know by now that talent is a very big part of the entire virtual pageant. So if you win the crown, what specific talent will you showcase in the international competition? Let's start with you, Karin.
Okay, no worries. Well, thank you for the question. My talent is playing the clarinet. I learned to play the clarinet beginning when I was in grade 3 in primary school, and I kept that up all the way until high school. And I did play the clarinet for my talent last year at Miss Earth Australia.
How about you, Sheridan?
So I love to sing and I play the piano and the guitar. So last year for Miss Earth, I wrote a song on the guitar and sang and played that as my talent. This year, because it's virtual, I would love to play the piano because it's not very easy to transport a piano to places. But if it's in my living room, I can just set up a camera and play away.
Oh, we don't believe that. We don't believe that, Sheridan.
You
We
don't believe
haven't
I can
seen you
play
sing.
piano?
No, 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 no. I'm kidding because I don't want to. I don't want to put you on the spot. Brittany, how about you?
Sure. So last year, my talent was a failure. I did a tap dance and I haven't tap danced in about 10 years. But the year 2017, I did a little bit of a science demonstration and that was really fun. So I could do something similar, or I've always wanted to train a rat to do some cool tricks. And I think that would be really fun to do, especially virtually, because I couldn't take that overseas if I was to represent internationally. So yeah, I'd love to have a little bit of animal talent show as well.
I haven't seen a rabbit a show where you train a rabbit to do tricks.
No,
I only
rats.
know that
Like
Rats.
rats.
yeah,
My
they're
God, the
very
mind.
intelligent. They're so smart.
They are. Like
Yeah.
just running on wheels and stuff like that. That would be very interesting. What can you say, Angel? Say something, Angel.
Oh, I have another question.
Yes, Angel. Fire away.
So back in 2017, current Miss Earth, then Miss Earth, Karen Nabosco, said she wanted world leaders to know that even when they cannot see global warming happening, it doesn't mean that it isn't happening and it doesn't have disastrous effects around the world. Was this within the realm of her responsibilities, or was this out of line?
I don't think it was out of line at all. You've heard me talking here today about our government, and I think that beauty queens, even though they do have a role to be quite regal and queenly, we do have a voice as well, and it's our responsibility to use it, especially in a pageant like Miss Earth where the advocacy is so important. And there's no point in just being a pretty face if no one's going to listen to what you have to say. So kudos to Karen. She is one of my favorite Miss Earth queens.
Agreed.
Adding on to that, I think that it's very important, especially when you have a platform such as Miss Earth, to bring light to issues such as these and then encourage people to support for a more positive change. These pageants are so amazing and incredible because they do give us the opportunity to bring to light all of these earth problems and problems that are happening with Mother Nature so that more people are aware about it and then more people can start making a change for the better.
Do we want to go to another comment?
Yeah, there is a question here from the Miss Earth Australia page. Anybody can answer. Do you think that the world's food security will be affected given everything is on a hold right now? Do you think that the world's food security will be affected given everything is on a hold right now? Just raise your hand, ladies, whoever wants to answer first. So it's about the world's food
Yeah, I'll
security.
go ahead.
Yes, Engineer Karin.
Oh yes, so I definitely think that in relation to what we were discussing before, that COVID-19 has revealed to us a lot of issues in our economy that they aren't sustainable when issues like this do occur. And so even now, Victoria, one of our states, is in, unfortunately, lockdown, specifically the Melbourne region, and people are concerned that the meat abattoirs won't have enough supply and demand. And of course, because Australia is relying on agriculture, that does affect our economy as an entire nation. And I think the fact that globally we can't just cross borders into other countries anymore, and trade has halted, different countries can't receive specific foods that they want. And this does have an impact on people's lives. And it's a very halting change. And so it's very difficult for people, understandably, to suddenly need to change their lifestyles when they've grown up in one particular way of life. And so, yes, I think we are at risk of some sort of economic and food security issue. But hopefully, now that we are rebuilding from COVID, we will be able to fix these and find better ways to do things.
Okay, anyone else who wants to? Yes, Sheridan.
Going on what Karen said, while obviously food security has been an issue that has come up, I'm hoping that a positive outcome that will become of that is that more people, especially now that we're home more, I've seen more people have started to grow their own fruit and vegetable. I've got friends that have started to grow beans and cauliflowers, and me and my roommates have started to grow little tomatoes in our backyard because we do have that extra time at home to be able to look after plants. And I think it's so important to reconnect with nature, and growing your own food has such a sense of accomplishment, and I would highly recommend that people do try that. It's just the little things that we can do to try and make the pandemic as positive as possible.
Thank you, Sheridan. Brittany, would you like to add something to that?
Thank you.
Just a little bit. So we've spoken about how air pollution and water pollution and greenhouse gas emissions have gone down during the pandemic. Another positive thing could be that insect populations may be recovering, and we require them as pollinators for all of our food supplies. So at least when we start coming back into producing again, hopefully that will be a positive thing. There might be some recovery there, and we might get an even better yield once we do get back to that kind of work again.
That's actually a very
Great.
unique input, Angel Lewis. Insects, the pollinators. I don't hear that very often. Yeah, I never. And actually, the common feedback from all our viewers is that it will be very difficult to select who will be the next Miss Earth Australia because all three ladies deserve the crown. And
Yes, I
I
agree.
feel I feel so pressured because it's going to be very close. You
I'm
know, it's
also
so close. It's
yes.
so close that you can actually, yeah, it can actually cut you like a knife. It's so close. Yeah. So good luck to us who will also input our scores for these ladies.
I'm also having a hard time.
Yeah, because each one, actually, the three ladies, they represent three different unique characteristics. If you look at Karine, with Miss Earth being held in the Philippines almost always, her Asian heritage would somehow be an advantage when you are mixed in the judging and everything. And then you look at Sheridan, who is like a goddess from Tirindri, what? And then you look at Brittany, who looks like a doll. She looks like a living doll, the Brittany, with that strawberry blonde hair. Oh my goodness, Angel, what do you think of our three ladies, Angel?
They are all very well spoken, and I've gone through and looked at your guys' social media over the last year, and you are all very active, which makes my heart happy. So I don't think there's any going wrong with any of you three, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, because someone from our readers is even challenging Sheridan. Sheridan is so playful. I'd love to hear her play piano. That's what Brendan Kutzer. I don't know if it's someone you know, but I was told he's good looking. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, and Brittany, I'd really love to see
The rat.
the tricks with the rats. I don't know
Uh,
what tricks because
wow.
here in our house, the tricks they do are so deadly. I couldn't even imagine teaching them new
Mhm.
ones because it might prove fatal or something.
Can teach them to jump through hoops and open little doors, and good fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
can you teach them not to bite on
If
our
you want to
clothes
go to another
and
comment,
maybe there are so many comments actually, and
so a while back, Roselle Joy I'm gonna guess on the last name, Ducka, asked, what can Australia do to have a more circular economy?
I think that some things that Australia could
Can
do
I
to
also
promote a
add?
more. Oh yeah, sorry, keep going. Yeah, Louis.
Yes, all three of you are just a great representation of your country. Any one of you could win. Australia would be so proud. And as for myself, I'm really having a hard time in, in judging you. And it's really a very big pressure to us. And I really hope that this would be, um, I really hope that this would be a memorable one this would be a memorable experience to the three of you. And you guys are so amazing, and we're really proud of you.
I'm
Thank you.
actually reviewing all the comments for all the three ladies, and it's really a three-way battle, literally a three-way battle. Like there is a team Karine, team Sheridan, and a team Brittany, and it's just making things harder for us, Angel and Louis. Yeah, because yeah, someone says here, Brandon again, Brittany is killing the com skills department. Sheridan is charming, and Karine is very smart and relaxed. Good luck. So, what else can we look for? Can we clone a girl, put all these qualities in one, and maybe come up with a Miss Earth Australia who will become the next Miss Earth? Brittany, would you like to say something? Were you raising your hand, dear?
Oh no, I was pretending I was mixing a potion. Didn't look very good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I keep on looking at your strawberry blonde hair, and I just keep on thinking to myself, maybe I get one that shade next year. Yeah, because my
I
hair
could
is
pull it
really
off.
gray or something. Now, I think that there's one question here that I really want to ask the girls because there's so many questions. Some of them were actually given much earlier, but it's very interesting. Okay, I think this one. I was looking for a question that is not so heavy, so that the three girls can answer. So to Brittany, how are you different from Sheridan and Karine? To Sheridan, how are you different from Brittany and Karine? And Karine, how are you different from Brittany and Sheridan? Okay, so just so people would know your impressions or assessments of one another. Brittany, let's start with you. I keep on looking at your strawberry blonde hair. Yes.
Sure. So all three of us are really committed environmentally, and we've become really good friends over the course of this competition. I think I'm a little bit different because I am so animal centric and focused, and I've got that scientific background where I constantly want to work with them, and that's kind of where I'm always going to be coming from. A little bit tunnel vision, but I'm happy to get across everything. And yeah, I think that's where I am a little bit different. And I guess I have been a veteran of the competition. I've come back a couple of times. So I've, grown to love the organization and maybe a little bit more experience. But other than that, yeah.
Thank you, Brittany. Sheridan, Sherry.
Hello. So once again, Karen and Brittany are absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that I met them through this Miss Earth organization. Something that's different about me is that I was fortunate enough to travel around Australia with my family when I was about 10 years old, and that really made me appreciate nature and all the beautiful different ecosystems that Australia has to offer, and really fall in love with not only my country, but again, the nature and the animals and the flora and the fauna that comes with Mother Earth. And so that sort of sparked my love and my passion for protecting the planet, because the planet to me reminds me of when my family and I traveled around. And so I want to protect that and protect that memory, so that if other families or other individuals would also like to see our beautiful country, then it will be protected and they'll still be able to see the beautiful, amazing things that Earth has to offer.
Karine?
Awesome. So, yes, I definitely agree with Brittany and Sheridan that it's been a fantastic year being Sash sisters alongside Pauline and also Susanna. I think how I'm different, that's actually a tough question, I guess, to answer specifically, but because we all like have passion for the environment. But I'd say perhaps I'm definitely a bit more quiet. Definitely seeing through social media, I'm probably more reserved. But I think I'm most passionate about living and showing my close family and friends how they can be sustainable by just giving them suggestions about, you know, taking reusable bags to the shops or maybe taking their own utensils to the takeaway shop rather than taking the plastic ones. So I think I'd like to, live by example, but I'm a little more quiet than everyone else.
Thank you, Karine.
Going
Ah,
back to
yes,
Rosa's
yes, Angel.
question, what can Australia do to have a more circular economy?
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah, yeah. Please, ladies, answer that
Women.
one.
Thank you for the question. So I think that things that Australia can do to help promote a circular economy is have more companies also start to adopt a circular economy outlook and the government to advertise that. So, for example, circular economy would work well. So, say, for example, you need a washing machine, and instead of buying it and then throwing it away to the tip, which causes more waste, if the company that you purchased it from could take it back and then use the parts that are still usable from that. There's so many, especially electronics, there are so many things that can be used still, but instead they're just thrown into landfill and littering all the environment. So if we can have more companies that promote that more circular sort of living, and then if the government could really push for that to happen, like they have return and earn and other things Karen was talking about earlier, then that would be fantastic.
Awesome. Oh, I guess the camera's on me. I definitely agree with Sheridan in that companies and organizations and businesses need to adopt the circular economy notion. But I also think that the government needs to be the ones at the forefront of the movement, and they should be the ones to have the initiatives and to implement laws and regulations that require companies and businesses to be circular economies. Because it's very easy just to have unethical practices in businesses when there are no laws and no consequences for unsustainable practice. And one wonderful thing about living in Canberra was that I did get to see the Green Shed. The Green Shed, I think, is the epitome of what we should be aiming for in a circular economy. They're just a company or organisation built up of volunteers that are supported by the ACT government, and they work just outside of Mugger Lane landfill. And when people can bring in their furniture, old waste, broken technology, and so forth, and people will sort through it and look for workable items. For example, I think a lot of people throw out vacuum cleaners, and these people just take it in, fix it up, and you can go in and buy it like a secondhand shop. And it's wonderful because then people don't have to go onto a new department store to get new electronics and so forth. So I think, yeah, that's the start of a circular economy.
Yeah,
Brittany?
I think it's all about adopting a zero waste lifestyle as best you can. None of us can be perfect, but we can all be better. And yeah, so if we continue to recycle, continue not to support fast fashion, make sure we are buying from places like op shops or even eBay from other people that are selling their own pre-owned clothes, I think that's a great way forward. In addition to that, on top of what Karen was saying, I know a number of other states also have tipping shops. So from the rubbish tip, they do salvage some great things that people can go on to buy and use in their daily lives. And I think that's a fantastic thing, and more of us need to take that on board. And another thing from what Karen said previously, we need to take the initiative to share what we know with our friends and family. And yeah, as what Sheridan said, companies also need to take on that responsibility. There's people like Planet Arc that are encouraging proper labeling of waste products for what you should do to them. So if it can be recycled, it's labeled that you can recycle that. If it can be recycled by taking it back to a store, you can do it that way. And yeah, it's something we all need to take on board, and we all need to keep our eyes open so we are doing the right thing going forward.
And since Norman,
Thank you, Brittany. There's actually a question. There's a weird question I want to ask the three of you because I want to alternate serious question with lighter question. So this is kind of, well, it's very Miss Earth related, but it's a little odd. Okay, you know very well that Miss Earth 2020 will be virtual. Everything will be done from your respective home countries. Now, if talent is big in this competition, there is no voting for Miss Friendship. But the thing is, it's important for the organizers to find out who really is the friendliest or who is the easiest to work with. So, virtually, how can you lay this show to everyone that you are indeed the friendly and easy to work with eco angels that the organization would like to spend a year with? Karine, let's start with you because you said you're shy.
Oh, thank you, Norman. Oh, that's a really, I'll be honest, a tough question because I suppose without being physically there with each other, it can be a little difficult to understand people's social dynamics and how they are as people. I think maybe one way that Miss Friendship could be chosen would be to do something similar with, I suppose, what Miss Earth Australia is running and just have family and friends vote for people because they're the ones that know their candidates the best and they're the ones that have lived with them and seen them grow up and also seen them go through their advocacy and preparation for the pageant. So I think that might be one suggestion. It might be a little hard to regulate, but I think it's an honest way of showing people who you really are.
Sherry,
I agree with Karen. It's so difficult because everything's online and you really do get a better sense of someone when you see them in person. And especially now that for virtual, we don't all get to be together in one group and see how everybody interacts with each other. So it is quite difficult to assess someone's character completely just through online video chats and online presence. But I believe that Karen's on the ball there where, the people that we've grown up with and that we've surrounded ourselves with will reach out and support us if they think that we should get that support. And so I think that's a really big indicator of the amount of love that surrounds that person. And I think that the people that you hang out with truly are a reflection of who you are as a person.
let's see. Maybe if you play the piano and play an upbeat tune, then you can show your friendliness there. Yeah, Brittany, how about you? How can you show your friendliness online?
I think social media would play a really big role. So interacting with each of the girls' posts and commenting and showing your support that way would really show kind of what kind of person you are, whether you're really competitive or whether you're there to make friends or whether it's a combination of both. Another thing with social media is that there's a lot of challenges that we can do. So I know Susanna started the Me and My Tree hashtag challenge that myself and I think the former Miss Earth, Monique Shippen, participated in, and that was a lot of fun. And I hope the other girls can get onto it at least after this call if they haven't already.
Thank you, Brittany. Angel, Louis, do you have any more questions for the three? It's getting harder and harder to really judge them. I'm not sure. I keep on going back and
Uh,
forth. I think we need to send three Miss Australia girls for the competition. Angel, Louis, do you have more questions for our very, very smart ladies?
I
oh,
do, but I want to make sure Louis does not yet first.
yes,
Louis, do
I
you
am
have
not
a
so sure if
question?
you guys can hear me.
Yes.
We can hear you. Do you want to sing?
Yes, oftentimes I ask Beauty Queen, which would they choose? Is it Crown or Love Life? This is just a side question. Okay.
They don't have love lives. They told me earlier. I don't know if it's true.
I think I'd have to
Come
go
on,
for
girl.
Crown because there's always a chance for love life later. Crown is essentially a 1-year commitment, but if you are passionate about the cause, it becomes a lifelong commitment, and the next queen can worry about her love life later, and then you can take that on after you've finished your reign. So definitely crown.
I believe
Sheridan, you're
that
only 20. Mhm.
I'm only 20. I believe that right now it's really important to focus on the future and what you would want to do with the time that we have now. And so I believe that going for the crown and doing all the amazing things that there, you'll just end up surrounded by people that you love anyway, and that those people can really support you through the ups and the downs. And so I think that if you can have both.
I think for
Yes.
Kareem, you need to be your choice should be crown or hard hat. Crown
Oh,
or hard hat.
do you say hard abs?
Hard hat. Hard hat. A hard
Hard
hat.
hats. Oh,
Yes.
I was thinking hard abs. Yes, that made me very strong. But crown or
Oh
hard
my
hat?
goodness, that's so Freudian of you.
I suppose. Oh, I could you have a crown that is a hard hat? That would be an excellent combination. Because a hard hat is important. It's personal protective equipment, so on a construction site, you definitely need that, and maybe the crown's not so suitable. But I think the notion of the crown, just being a champion for the environment, that would be the most important. So maybe I'd physically have a hard hat on, but mentally and spiritually have a crown on.
My goodness, that hard abs is really throwing me off. Because yeah, oh my goodness. I just thought because you're still a engineering graduate. Yeah. But there's this question that keeps on coming back and forth in our stream here. Will any of you ladies join other national pageants in Australia if you don't get the Miss Earth Australia crown? For those, for the one, of course, who will not get it, like if any of you will want to answer that question, do you have other ambitions or plans to join other national pageants in Australia?
Right now, my main
Yes,
focus is
Terry.
right now my main focus is Miss Earth, and that's everything that, as I said, it's the first pageant that I've ever done, and it's one of the pageants that I'm most passionate about, and that's all that I've really focused on at the moment. I haven't really thought anything past that, especially due to COVID. I want to put all of my energy and time into this pageant, and then maybe, if I don't get this crown, maybe I will look at other things, but for now, Miss Earth is where my heart lies.
Brittany?
It's not in my heart to do any other pageant, to be honest. This is my passion, and this is what I'm after. After I didn't win the title in 2017, and back then I think it was first runner-up and not same status, I had people encouraging me, saying, "Oh, go in Miss Universe, or go in Miss World, go do this one." I'm like, no, not for me. I really want to focus on my advocacy, and this is the way forward. So, Miss Earth or nothing.
Okay, how about you, Kareen? Because they keep on coming back to my question earlier. It's hard hat, not hard ASS. It's hard hat. Yes, Kareen. Please answer the question. Do you have plans of joining other pageants?
Oh, I would say personally no, only because I suppose entering the pageant world was a bit unexpected for me. I took it on just as a bit of a challenge last year when it was my final year of my engineering degree, just to do something different, but also similar to both these girls, it's the fact that there is the environmental advocacy behind Miss Earth that makes it so special. And so, yes, I don't think I'd be looking at other pageants now, only because I didn't realize I would become Miss Water. But yes, I think I'd be interested to hear about what the other pageants do advocate for, and see if that aligns with what I believe.
Thank you for that, Kareen. So, Angel, do you have any more questions for them? Because I will not run out of questions if you
Trust me, Norman, neither
wanted
will
me
I.
again. I
Neither
have
will I. But I am 18, so I hashtag portion of Miss Earth. So last year's hashtags were Earth, respect, inspiration, influence, flower, woman, religion, freedom, equality, and technology. Each of you, could you choose a hashtag and expand on it?
I would choose the hashtag inspiration. I believe that it's really important to inspire other people, especially the younger and the older generation. Inspire them to remember just how beautiful our Mother Earth is, and so that would make them inspired to want to protect it and keep helping the environment. I think that sometimes, especially in cities where there's not so much ecosystems around you and not so much nature, you can easily sort of forget the amazing healing and calming powers that nature has. And so I'd really encourage everyone, if they can, to like just get out into nature every once in a while and smell the roses, feel the grass under your feet, and feel the sunshine on your face, and just remind yourself just how wonderful we are to be living in an environment where we get to see all of these beautiful things, and it would really inspire people to try and protect it.
Oh, Angel, you have to forgive me. Can you just repeat some of the list again?
Oh yeah. Earth,
Just the first few.
respect, inspiration, influence, flower, woman, religion, freedom, equality, and technology.
Awesome, thank you. I suppose I'll go with hashtag respect. I think a lot of our just ecological and sustainability issues do just arise out of selfishness, and it's people don't respect and acknowledge how important the environment is, and they want to just do things for themselves and choose options that are convenient, such as getting that plastic bag at Coles when you've forgotten your own, or perhaps just driving your vehicle when you could just walk or take public transport. And I think, yes, people just need to respect what the environment really does for us. Going back to the whole biodiversity idea, the fact that everything is connected, and when people just take their own bite of the cake, that's when things go down the hill. So, yes, hashtag respect.
Brittany?
Sure. I was going to go hashtag inspiration and then have a chat about Greta Thunberg and the amazing movement that she's been leading over the past year, because she is such an amazing woman, young woman. But I guess I'll go for something different, and I'll go with technology. Technology is something that's going to be leading our way forward, and it could be the solution to a lot of our ecological and environmental problems at the moment. I was reading a story earlier today about people in Europe having problems with pollinators, back to that again. So because of climate change, the pollinators aren't coming out of their, I guess, hibernation period, so they're not pollinating the plants, and people are having really poor yields from their food and their crops. And one of the initiatives that they've got over there is kind of like an Uber service for bees, where they're shipping bees from place to place to help pollinate plants. And it's being used by, I think, over 500 people now, and it's been really successful. There's a lot of disease risk that needs to be managed, but they haven't had any issues so far. So I think that's really amazing, and I'd love to see more technology initiatives like that to tackle our environmental problems.
I'm seeing a
Okay.
question from Carlos real quick. What is your reaction or opinion to people saying that Miss Earth is biased and criticizing the results every year?
Nobody wants to raise their hand.
Could you repeat that one? Sorry. Reaction, opinion.
What is the reaction or opinion of you to people saying Miss Earth is biased and criticizing the results every year?
To be honest, I think that's not true. I think each girl has their own merit, and each judge has a different opinion, and what they see in a girl is what they see in a girl, and they're going to score accordingly. And every girl has made it to that international pageant, if we're talking about that level. So they're there for a reason, and they've proven themselves, and I've watched the pageant for the past couple of years and I haven't had any issues or concerns. I know some people think that there is a lean towards Filipino winners, but they're often really deserving and they know what they're doing. They are true queens and I'm there to support them too.
Yeah, I think following on from what Brittany has said, I'm a bit new to the pageant world, so I guess I'm not really able to make a comment on any biased decision making. But I would say, yes, that people who criticize the final decision, they're the ones that are being selfish. They think that their opinion matters more than the ones of the officials that have been appointed in these roles to judge in the competition. I think that's exactly the attitude that brings us our environmental issues, our selfishness and ignorance. And so I think, yeah, that's an important takeaway from this. It's just the woman who was chosen to be the queen, she's there for a reason. They've all made it to the international pageant. So I definitely agree with Brittany.
Yeah, and just adding on to what Karen and Brittany have said, I totally agree. Sometimes the people don't see everything that happens behind the scenes in terms of pageants, and so what you see might not be the entire picture, but the judges and the organisers know what's been happening the entire time, and so I believe that their decision is the strongest.
Okay, thank you, ladies. I think we're down to our last question. But before I ask that last question, somebody's asking me, what do you personally think of the three ladies? This is the only thing I can say because I'll be judging. Miss Earth 2020 will be a virtual pageant. So take it from there because a virtual pageant is different from the traditional pageant. So, with that in mind, the final question is this. For you three ladies, what is your honest opinion about Miss Earth holding a virtual pageant
Virtual.
instead of waiting for things to really get back to normal or at least a semblance of the normal, the old normal? What do you honestly think about virtual pageants?
I'm honestly really impressed with the Miss Earth organization for continuing to go ahead. I think it's really fantastic of them to take the initiative and try something new. And consider we are the Miss Earth pageant, by doing it online, we technically are protecting the earth just a little bit more by not flying over to other countries and things like that. But I must admit, I definitely will really miss out on if I was to be queen or if anyone else to be queen. I reckon that meeting all the other ladies is such an enjoyable experience and something that will be really lacking in terms of virtual pageants, because you don't get to spend that time and connect with that sisterhood of beautiful and inspirational women. And so that is something that I would really miss during a virtual pageant.
How about you,
jump in.
Brittany? Oh, Karin, Karin. Karin.
I suppose it's really exciting that it's a virtual pageant. Yes, I completely agree with Sheridan. It will be so different to what a traditional pageant is. But I think the fact that Miss Earth has chosen to go on with a pageant shows that the advocacy that it brings about the environment and protecting our Earth is more important than, I suppose, any limitations or obstacles. And it shows that the message of the need to look after our environment is constant. We have a lot of uncertainty amongst COVID-19, but yeah, seeing the pageant go ahead sends this really strong message. And I'm excited because I think it's more accessible for people to watch as well. It's online, and so yeah, people can join in from wherever they are.
And how about you, Brittany?
Yeah, so I am supportive of the virtual pageant going forward because environmental issues are constant. They don't stop. And just because the world has stopped and we are in a middle of a pandemic doesn't mean that our actions have to stop either. So continuing with the pageant virtually means that all of these lovely women should be doing their environmental activities at home, or if they're able to within their communities, that would be fantastic. And in addition to that, with the virtual pageant, I think there could be a couple of issues just with wealth disparity. I think it should be a priority of the organisation to make it as fair as possible. I don't know if they could invest money into sending potentially camera equipment to people that may not have the same kind of facilities that more fortunate countries may have. That's my main concern, because I think it should be a fair contest, and yeah, we have to try and make that playing field even.
That's a great
Okay,
point, Brittany.
true. It's a very great point, and I think whoever will get to win Miss Earth Australia 2020, of course, I wouldn't be able to meet you personally right away, but after the old normal, after the new normal, and everything returns to the traditional, then I suppose I will see the eventual winner. Adam, Adam, we're finished with our open forum. What are we going to do next? Are we going to sing now with Sheridan playing the piano?
Yes, I had a great time listening to you guys. So, before we end, can I ask these girls to give their closing statement as to why they
Yes.
should be the next Miss Earth Australia? Who can start? Anyone can start. Brittany, you want to go first?
Sure, I kind of went through this a little bit before, but I grew up with like an undeniable love for animals and nature, and whether I was playing with kangaroos or luring parrots to sit on my arm, or diving through the waves when I was a little kid just to try and see dolphins, I just knew these experiences shaped me into who I am today. And I've decided to dedicate my life and my career to protecting the Australian wildlife and environment, and I'd like to take that around the world. The chance to elevate that voice and become a stronger voice for conservation would be incredible. As I said before, my goal is to inspire, educate, and bring a lot more excitement back into saving the environment. And the title of Miss Earth would allow me my best chance to do that.
Well said.
Sheridan?
You're next.
So, my love for the environment has been with me since childhood. As I mentioned before, I got to travel around our beautiful country with my family, and it really allowed me to appreciate the diversity of our ecosystems and the importance that they hold for our livelihood. I am studying my major, I'm studying global sustainable development because I believe that educating ourselves about the land and how it works and how we can save it is really important. And so I would love to educate others about not only sustainable ethical practices, but also to remind them of the beauty of our Mother Earth and the nature and everything that comes with it. If I was to be crowned Miss Earth Australia 2020, I would show the beauty of our country, Australia, to the world and hopefully influence others to lead an ethical life in order to protect our beautiful country and the world. Thank you.
And last but not the least,
Kareen.
Kareen.
Awesome.
Kareen.
Yes, so thank you everyone for watching tonight. My final statement would be that regardless of if I get a crown or not on Saturday, I always love the environment and look to living a more sustainable life and making decisions that are deliberate in towards promoting as eco-friendly way of living. And I suppose to get the crown would just be something extra. I wouldn't just be sharing my love for the environment and sustainability with family and friends. I'd be able to do that on a national and international stage. And so, yes, I really love the opportunity to be a part of a very different pageant, something that's definitely outside of my comfort zone, and just give it a go and show the world what Australia has.
You guys are not only just beautiful, but really well spoken as well. Good luck, ladies. Before we end the show, I just want to remind the viewers this is how this will all play out. The performance of these three ladies at this live chat interview, plus their performance in the upcoming closed door interview this weekend, will determine the next Miss Earth Australia winner. The next Miss Australia winner will be announced by the Miss Earth Australia organization in the next few days. So, ladies, Sir Norman, Sir Luis, and Miss Angel, thank you so much for doing
Thank
this
you.
live chat interview with our
You're welcome. I
reigning
really
Miss
enjoyed
Earth
it with these
Australia.
ladies.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
so
Thank
much for
you,
your time,
everyone. Thanks,
everyone.
Thank
Norman.
you.
Thanks,
Thank
Louise.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is
And Miss Nebraska will go to Miss Earth 2020.
Stay safe and hydrated.
Have a great night, everyone. Have a great day,
Goodbye.
Angel.
Thank you.